Allow me to envelop you in the silence of Eastern wisdom. I am Lao Tzu, the old master, and today, from the depths of the Tao, I bring you not mere words, but whispers from nature itself. You, with your longings and endless struggles, seek transformation, do you not? You chase goals, accumulate possessions, but true change rarely lies in doing. It resides in being, in flowing, in letting go. If you feel the urgency for a more harmonious life, one more connected to the primordial rhythm of the universe, stay with me. Together, we shall observe the great lessons that water, the mountain, the bamboo, and the wind have to offer us. Before we dive into these deep reflections, I ask that you like this video so that the gentle force of these ancient truths may touch and bless more hearts longing for a life in balance. And subscribe to this channel so that my next reflections, born from close observation of the Great Way, may continue to guide you in your journey of transformation and return to your purest and most peaceful essence. The first reflection I bring you is about water, my friends, and she is perhaps the most powerful of all teachers. She is soft, flexible, seemingly fragile, but there is nothing in the world that can resist her persistence and her ability to shape even the hardest rock. Water naturally flows to the lowest places, without ego, without the need to be great or important. And it is precisely through this humility and unpretentiousness that she can fill all spaces and eventually become the vast and limitless ocean. Observe the water in your own lives. Where are you resisting instead of flowing freely? Where does the rigidity of your ideas or habits prevent you from adapting to ever-changing circumstances, causing friction and unnecessary suffering to your soul? Embrace the flexibility and humility of water, and you will find the path to overcome the greatest obstacles without effort. Water, in its purest essence, competes with nothing and no one. It does not struggle desperately against the obstacles it encounters. It goes around them wisely, or wears them down with infinite patience over time. When it encounters an unmovable barrier, it does not grow angry, nor does it waste energy in vain frustration. It simply finds another path, another crack, or waits for the right moment, serenely, to overflow and continue its course. Think of the sterile arguments in which you engage, of the internal resistance that robs you of peace and serenity. How often do you exhaust yourself trying to force an outcome not aligned with the natural flow of life, instead of simply surrendering to it? Water teaches that true strength does not lie in imposition or rigidity, but in serene adaptability, in the capacity to yield momentarily, then flow with even more power and purpose, reaching its destination without excessive struggle. The second reflection I bring you comes from the mountain. Still, silent, majestic, it remains in its timeless grandeur, witnessing the passage of ages, the fiercest storms, and the most peaceful calms. It does not seek attention, nor does it move to impress anyone with its magnificence, but its imposing presence and stillness naturally inspire respect, stability, and a deep sense of permanence. The mountain represents the unshakable solidity of your center, the inner calm that is not disturbed by external storms, no matter how intense they may be. In a world of constant movement, of frantic changes and endless turmoil, where your minds are dragged by countless concerns and distractions, the mountain invites you to find your own axis, your point of unwavering stillness and your true essence. When you feel lost, confused, disoriented, or overwhelmed by life, what would you do if you were a mountain? you would remain firm and unmoved, deeply rooted in the earth, watching the clouds pass and the changes unfold without clinging to them. The mountain does not chase the sun desperately, nor despairs at the coming of snow. It simply is, in its purest essence. This is the valuable lesson of full presence and intrinsic resilience. Cultivate the ability to be fully in the present, to observe your turbulent thoughts and emotions without being carried away by them, just as the mountain watches the changing weather. It is in this state of deep stillness and inner solidity that true mental clarity and lasting peace reveal themselves to you without the need to seek external answers. The third reflection I present to you is from the bamboo. It is notably hollow inside, a characteristic that makes it incredibly light and surprisingly flexible. It bends with the strongest wind, even in the midst of hurricanes, without breaking its structure. Its apparent fragility, which seems a vulnerability, is actually its greatest strength and virtue. Bamboo teaches us about creative emptiness and the strength that lies in flexibility. In your lives, excessive attachment to rigid ideas, fixed opinions, and material possessions often makes you heavy, inflexible, and consequently brittle in the face of life's pressures. Bamboo invites you to empty yourselves of prejudices, to open completely to the new and unexpected, to leave internal space for the unknown and for the wisdom that arises from not knowing. The extraordinary strength of bamboo is not in resisting the wind rigidly, but in bending gracefully with it, allowing nature's force to pass through it. It bends to the ground, lets the wind pass without resistance, and then returns to its original position, intact and resilient. In your place, when facing situations that try to bring you down, criticisms that seem unfair, overwhelming challenges that arise unexpectedly, what would bamboo do? It teaches you not to fight vainly against what cannot be changed, to adapt wisely, to bend with adversity instead of breaking. It is in this apparent submission and flexibility that true invulnerability and the ability to rise even stronger and wiser are found. The fourth reflection comes to us from the wind. It is invisible to human eyes, intangible to the touch, yet its power is absolutely undeniable and perceptible in everything it touches. It moves the leaves of trees, the clouds in the sky, the desert dunes, never clinging to anything, never leaving a permanent trace of itself. The wind represents the fundamental impermanence of all existence and the absolute freedom that comes from this understanding. You often try to hold tightly to what is transient and fleeting, moments of joy that fade, youth that slips away, material possessions that deteriorate. But the wind shows you that true freedom and lasting peace are only achieved when you understand that everything is in constant motion. Everything is born, grows, decays, and transforms endlessly. Like the wind, my friends, flow with life's constant changes, without clinging desperately to what once was or what could have been. The wind does not grieve for what it leaves behind on its path, nor does it cling to what it carries with it. It simply is, in its eternal flow. This is the profound lesson of detachment and the full acceptance of the impermanence of all things. Allow things to come and go in your lives, like the seasons, without letting your happiness depend on them or on their permanence. True peace lies in understanding that, like the wind, your deepest essence is free, unlimited, and cannot be imprisoned by anything material or temporal, no matter how seductive it may seem. The fifth and final reflection is of emptiness and fullness, as manifested in the universe itself, according to the Tao. The Tao is paradoxically empty, and yet inexhaustible in its ability to create. A vessel is useful precisely because of its empty interior. A window is functional because of its nothingness that allows light and air to pass through. Nature, in its intrinsic perfection, does not strive, does not agitate in vain. It simply is, in a constant and harmonious flow of creation and dissolution. This teaches us about the power of non-action, Wu Wei, and the profound interconnectedness of everything that exists in the cosmos. True strength and true action, paradoxically, arise from non-doing, from the absence of excessive effort and unnecessary forced intervention. Just as nature does not rush its cycles, and yet everything is accomplished in its perfect time, you are invited to trust in the natural rhythm of life, not to force results or try to control the uncontrollable. When you align yourselves with the natural flow of the universe and the innate wisdom that governs it, your actions become powerful, effective, and effortless, like the spontaneous flow of nature, which manifests its perfection without internal or external resistance. The emptiness of a bowl makes it useful to contain food. The emptiness of a room makes it livable and inviting. The emptiness in your minds, free of excessive worries, constant judgments, and mental noise, makes it a pure vessel for wisdom and peace. Do not fear inner emptiness, my friends, for it is the primordial space where unlimited creativity and true fullness can arise and flourish. Empty yourselves of turbulent thoughts, material attachments, and artificial needs, and you will find the fullness that has always been there, waiting silently for you, in your essence. Nature does not judge. The majestic tree does not ask if you deserve its cool shade. The revitalizing rain does not choose which soil to fall upon. It simply offers its gifts without expectations, without attachment to the outcome of its actions. Practice unconditional acceptance and non-discrimination in your lives. Open your hearts and minds to all beings, without prejudice, without hasty judgments. It is in the universal acceptance of the other, in their entirety, that true peace and compassion flourish abundantly, connecting you to the great and eternal flow of life that permeates all. The wisdom of nature teaches us that everything is in constant balance and profound interconnection. Day follows night in a perfect cycle, summer turns to winter, and so on. There is no good without the existence of evil, nor light without its corresponding shadow. Accept this duality inherent in existence, without trying to eliminate it or fight against it. It is in the acceptance of the totality of life, with all its polarities and manifestations, that you will find harmony and serenity, realizing that each element has its place and essential purpose in the great and intricate scheme of things. Observe the intrinsic simplicity of nature. It does not seek unnecessary complexity or ostentation. A delicate flower does not strive to be beautiful. It simply is, in its natural perfection. A mighty river does not try to be deep. It merely flows, following its course. In your lives, you often overcomplicate things, creating tangles of anxious thoughts and unfounded worries. Seek conscious simplicity. Free yourselves from the superfluous, both materially and mentally, and you will find the pure essence of peace, which is always simple and accessible. The Tao is like a valley. It attracts everything to itself, not through force, but through its humility, through its ability to receive what flows downward. Nature does not exalt itself, does not seek to be superior to anything. It simply accepts its humble place in the great cycle of life. Cultivate true humility in your actions and thoughts. Recognize that you are part of something much greater than your individuality, and that true strength lies in serving the whole, instead of seeking personal greatness or recognition. It is in humility that you connect with universal wisdom and find lasting peace. Nature constantly regenerates itself in a continuous cycle of life and renewal. After a devastating fire, the forest is reborn with even greater vigor. After a violent storm, the sky clears, revealing clarity. It teaches us about the infinite capacity for renewal and the eternal cycle of life. Do not cling to the past, nor to the mistakes made, for they are but lessons. Trust in your own innate ability to renew yourselves, to learn from experiences, and to start anew each day with a renewed spirit. Life is a continuous flow of new opportunities to blossom. Just allow that inner renewal. My friends, these deep reflections from nature are not rigid laws to be followed blindly, but invitations to attentive observation and personal experience. The Tao cannot be named or defined in words. It can only be lived in its fullness. True transformation does not come from the outside, but from an internal and conscious alignment with these universal principles that nature reveals in every moment of its existence. Let the wisdom of water, the mountain, the bamboo, the wind, and the void guide your journey of self-knowledge, and you will find the peace that surpasses all understanding. May the stillness and depth of nature inspire you to live in harmony with the Great Way. Do not forget to like this video so that these words of ancient wisdom may flow and bless more hearts thirsty for peace and balance. And subscribe to this channel so that my next reflections, born from careful observation of the flow of life, may continue to enlighten and transform your lives, step by step, toward the serenity and fullness of the Tao.